Hey kids, it's Mr. Chris from Fortress. Thanks for joining me this week for another book. This week we're reading The Goat in the Rug. My name is Geraldine, and I live near a place called Window Rock with my Navajo friend Glen May. It's called Window Rock because it has a big round hole in it that looks like a window open to the sky. See the window in the rock? Glen May is called Glen May most of the time because it's easier to say than her Indian name, Glee Nazba. In English, that means something like female warrior, but she's really a Navajo weaver. I guess that's why one day she decided to weave me into a rug. I remember it was a warm, sunny afternoon. Glen May had spent most of the morning sharpening a large pair of scissors. I had no idea what she was going to use them for, but it didn't take me long to find out. Got her carrying her. So, it's the goat telling the story. Before I knew what was happening, I was on the ground and Glen May was clipping off my wool in great long strands. It's called mohair, really. It didn't hurt at all, but I admit I kicked up my heels some. I'm very ticklish for a goat. I might have looked a little naked and silly afterwards, but my, did I feel nice and cool. So I decided to stick around and see what would happen next. Here's Glen May, clipping off the wool. The first thing Glen May did was chop up roots from a yucca plant. The roots made a soapy, rich lather when she mixed them with water. She washed my wool in the suds until it was clean and white. After that, a little bit of me, you might say, was hung up in the sun to dry. When my wool was dry, Glen May took out 2 large square combs with many teeth. By combing my wool between these carding combs, as they're called, she removed any bits of twigs or burrs and straightened out the fibers. She told me it helped make a smoother yarn for spinning. Then Glen May carefully started to spin my wool, one small bundle at a time, into yarn. I was beginning to find out it takes a long while to make a Navajo rug. Again and again, Glen May twisted and pulled the wool. Then she spun it around a long, thin stick she called a spindle. As she twisted and pulled and spun, the finer, stronger, and smoother the yarn became. It took so long, the goat had to take a nap. A few days later, Glen May and I went for a walk. She said we were going to find some special plants she would use to make dye. I didn't know what dye meant, but it sounded like a picnic to me. I do love to eat plants. That's what got me into trouble. When Glen May was out looking for more plants, I ate every one she had already collected in her bucket. Delicious! The next day, Glen May made me stay at home while she walked miles to a store. She said the dye she could buy wasn't the same as the kind she makes from plants, but since I'd made such a pig of myself, it would have to do. There's the goat having to stay home. I was really worried that she would still be angry with me when she got back. She wasn't, though, and pretty soon she had 3 big potfuls of dye boiling over a fire. Then I saw what Glen May had meant by dyeing. She dipped my white wool into one pot, and it turned pink. She dipped it in again. It turned a darker pink. By the time she'd finished dipping it in and out and hung it up to dry, it was a beautiful deep red. After that, she dyed some of my wool brown and some of it black. I couldn't help wondering if those plants I'd eaten would turn all of me the same colors. While I was worrying about that, Glenmay started to make our rug. She took a ball of yarn and wrapped it around and around 2 poles. I lost count when she'd reached 300 wraps. I guess I was too busy thinking about what it would be like to be the only red, white, and black and brown goat at Window Rock. See, the goat was imagining if the dye from all the flowers that she ate turned with all those colors. It wasn't long before Glenmay had finished wrapping. Then she hung the poles with the yarn on a big wooden frame. It looked like a picture frame made of logs. She called it a loom. After a whole week of getting to weave, Glenmay started. She began weaving at the bottom of the loom. Then, one strand of yarn at a time, our rug started growing toward the top. So here's the loom, and here's Glenmay weaving the rug, putting the yarn in there. A few strands of black, a few of brown, a few of red, in and out, back and forth, until in a few days the pattern of our rug was clear to see. Our rug grew very slowly, just as every Navajo weaver before her had done for hundreds and hundreds of years. Glenmay formed a design that would never be duplicated. It means no one else could make one exactly like it. See how far they've come, how much of the rug and that design from all the weaving. Then at last, the weaving was finished, but not until I'd checked it quite thoroughly in front and in back did I let Glenmay take our rug off the loom. So Geraldine's checking out both sides of the rug. There was a lot of me in that rug. I wanted it to be perfect, and it was. Since then, my wool has grown almost long enough for Glenmay and me to make another rug. I hope we do it very soon, because you see, there aren't too many weavers like Glenmay left among the Navajo. See, the goat's wool is growing back out. It's about time to start to make another rug. And there's only one goat like me, Geraldine. And it says, this is the true story of a weaver and her goat who lived in the Navajo Nation at Window Rock, Arizona. Wasn't that a great story? All right, so every week we have an activity to do, and I think this week is really fun. What we're going to do is we're going to weave our own rug, kind of. Instead of using wool, unless you have a goat that I didn't know about, that you can go clip the wool and turn it into yarn and dye it and all those things, I thought instead what we'd do is work with some paper. So if you get the activity kit at home, you should have at least 2 pieces of construction paper. So I'm going to take you through the steps of what we're going to do and how we're going to do some weaving. So you want them to be 2 different colors, and you pick one or the other one, and you fold it in half. And you have to fold it this way to where the skinny sides are here, the long sides are here, and you go from the top down to the bottom. And then Then you fold it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut some lines in here. So either you can get really fancy, and if you've got a ruler, you can take a ruler and draw about 7 or 8 lines all the way across, about the same size, and you want your lines to stop about right here. Or you can do it like I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to use the lines. I'm just going to try to be really careful. So I'm going to go a little ways over, about an inch or so, and I'm going to start cutting. And if you need help from somebody, you can get some help on the cutting part. And you're going to cut it down, but you're not going to cut all the way down. You're just going to cut close to the end, but then you're going to stop, okay? And you're going to do that. I'm going to move over about the same amount of space. And you're going to cut, and you're going to stop before you're going to go about as far as you did on the other one. And you're going to keep doing that and cutting. You got to be real careful that you don't get too close to the edge, or you might accidentally cut it all the way off, and you don't want to do that. Okay. I'm going to do that all the way down the page. Make sure you can see that. Alright, so I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ended up with 6 cuts in there. And remember, they don't go all the way to the end. And then what you're going to do is you're going to unfold it and straighten it out so it just looks like this, and you're going to set it aside for a second, and you're going to take a second piece of paper. Now this is also really important. You want it to be a different color, and you also want to make sure it's going this way. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut. This time we get to cut. We're not going to fold it, and we're going to cut all the way across. So we're going to do that probably maybe about 7 or 8 times. We're going to cut the different strips, okay? So, but you got to make sure that you cut it from this side to this side, on the short way, not the long way, or it won't work. So anyway, so we're going to take it like this, and we're going to start cutting, and we're going to try to do straight lines. Now if you want it to be absolutely perfect, if you have a ruler, you can go ahead and draw straight lines all the way across, and then you know exactly where to cut. But I'm going to try to cut as straight as I can. And then you're just going to keep cutting straight lines, and you want them all to be about the same size. See what I'm doing? Now if you're doing this the same time that I am, you might need to, if it's taking you longer to cut it, you might need to pause this video. But now I've got all mine cut. So I ended up with, let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you might end up with 8. Or you might have 7 or 6. It might be a different number. But they're all about the same size, maybe a little bit different. Now what you're going to do, this is where you get to weave. So you'll take one strip at a time, and you'll come in, you'll go over the top, behind this one, on top of the next one, then behind, then on top. This is weaving. and behind again, and then on top. And then, if you push it all the way over, there it is. And if you've got some glue, then what you can do is you can kind of lift it up a little bit and put a little dot of glue behind each one, and it'll hold it in place. And then what you'll do is you'll continue to go down, putting in, doing the weaving. So now on the next one, instead of going on top, you'll want to go on the bottom and come out on top, and then the bottom, then on top, then on the bottom, then on top, then on the bottom, and scoot it up as close as you can get it, as close and tight as you can get it to the other one. And there we go. So we're kind of like that picture in the book where they just started the rug. So we just started it, and if I had time to finish this, it'll take a while. At the end, you'll have this pattern going all the way to the end. Now, another thing you can do is if you have other colors, different colors of paper, you can, for these strips that you cut, you can do this for a couple different colors, and then you can use different colors. So this could be blue, this could be yellow. You could even do another one that's orange. Just depends on how much colored paper you have. I only had 2 pieces of color paper, so that's what I'm using. So anyway, so when you finish, you'll have a rug. So if you can get your mom or dad or somebody to take a picture of your rug when you're done with it, have your mom text that to me, because I would love to see your rugs when you're done. You can even, if you want to, once you've done it, you can color on it more to change the different colors, or you can draw animals or draw different symbols or whatever you want to on there and decorate it. You know, get as creative as you want and have fun with it. Anyway, thanks for joining me this week. Look forward to seeing y'all next time. Bye.